as their reward for their hard works, rather than passing it into a government who then has a tendency to return that money back into middle class welfare. So the tax system, the changes we've made over the last 3 years, I think have greatly assisted the opportunities for business to profit. I do acknowledge with the fiscal situation we face at the moment, if we're re-elected as a government in 2 weeks' time, I don't expect we'll have the opportunity to do much more with tax in the immediate next 3 years. The second driver of the economic growth agenda is around education. And whilst education covers a broad range from primary to secondary to tertiary, I just want to concentrate on one aspect, and that is the national standards that we've brought into the primary and secondary sector of education. Because I'm a dad when I occasionally get home to see my kids, and we've got a 7-year-old boy called Morgan, and he started school as 5, as your kids will have started school as 5-year-olds. And without national standards, we got a wonderful report when he came home at the end of his first year as a 5-year-old, telling us he was a delightful child to teach, a credit to his parents and all that sort of rubbish. What we weren't told is that Morgan was struggling with his reading. With national standards the next year, we were told that we had a challenge with Morgan's ability to read, and we've worked hard with him and with the school, and with remedial work, we've now picked up that problem and dealt to it. If it hadn't been for the national government's decision to bring in national standards, it's possible that Morgan could have gone through many years of schooling without us truly being told the problem. The third aspect of the economic growth agenda is around the public service, those civil servants that we employ to deliver a public service for you. And we have made some changes to the public service, and it does come at a human cost. In my own Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, we've brought 2 other government departments into that ministry, the Food Safety Ministry and the Ministry for Fisheries. It has meant we've had to reduce staff numbers by 10%, so that does come at a human cost. But none of those positions that have been disestablished have been frontline positions. They've all been senior management officers, mainly based in Wellington. And I think the fact we've brought it all together without a lot of headlines, we've now got the system operating more efficiently, proves to me that unless we're careful as a government, you can allow the public service to build up quite extraordinarily. In fact, it built up by 50% between the years 2004 to 2008. You and I pay for that, and we've got a duty to deliver to you the most efficient public service and not a wasteful one. The fourth driver is one that I think you'll have heard many politicians talk about before, and that's delivering you a business environment with less regulation. Very easy for me to stand here and say we'll drive regulation and red tape out of your business. Far harder to do. But I'll give you one example we've achieved, and that's around the elimination of gift duty, which we did last year. Gift duty used to bring to the government coffers somewhere between $1 million and $2 million a year. It cost you and I, as people who were in gifting programs, an estimated $70 million to work with your lawyer, to work with your accountant, to establish gifting programs by which you could gift $27,000 a person. The sort of regulation that it kept in over time, absolutely top heavy, wasn't delivering any benefits to government, so we've eliminated. And I invite you as business people to talk to us, to Nikki, to myself at any time. If you know of a regulation that is hindering your business, let us know about it. We'll have a look at it, we'll see whether it's necessary. If we deem it is necessary, can we modify it in such a way that actually makes it easier for you to perform? The fifth driver of the economic growth agenda is infrastructure, and that's roading, that's broadband, and my own pet topic, of course, is water infrastructure. As Ag Minister, besides the people here in New Zealand, one of the greatest competitive advantages we have is water. But if you know Canterbury like I know Canterbury, those major river flows, 96% of that water flows straight out to sea. And we have to find a way to better store water, to better allocate water, so that our farmers are protected as we face a huge challenge in the future around climate change. The final drive of the economic growth agenda is what we call science and innovation and trade. I just want to touch first of all on the trade situation. We were the first country in the world to sign a free trade agreement with China, and that has been immensely beneficial to the economy of New Zealand since it was signed. China has become our second largest trading partner, and we send about 40% of our exports to that country. Tim Grosser, as our Trade Minister, is doing a fantastic job. Poor old Tim spends more time away from New Zealand than he does in New Zealand, but he's there negotiating now with Russia, with the Gulf states, with Korea, and probably the most exciting of them all, a free trade agreement with India. If we can deliver those free trade agreements for any of you involved in exporting any New Zealand product, they bring you huge benefits. With regards to science, we've got a government that truly appreciates the value of science, and the reason I mention science now is because we are a country that has traditionally been very well regarded as an exporter of food. But that's not the only strength to our bow, and there are many, many companies, probably some of them here in the audience today, that are smart and innovative, and with the assistance of government and expenditure around science and technology, you can develop companies that can take on the world, and we want to be there and partner with you. Can I just leave you with one thought with regards to the election? And it's a 4-letter word, Nikki, but it's a clean one. And it's called debt. I was listening to the news as I came into breakfast this morning and hearing now the recognition that Greece is an absolute cold case, that now Italy is a cold case, should be a reminder to all of us how fragile that world environment is. I go so far as to say the world economy now is more fragile than it's been at any time in any of our lifetimes. So it is a time for very cautious government. We've put forward a budget that this year runs a deficit of $18 billion. Half of that, $9 billion, can be attributed completely to our commitment to rebuild Christchurch. But that sort of level of budget deficit from government is unsustainable in the longer term. So as we've advanced our policies to you for the election, we've watched what other parties are doing, and they have one solution, and that is to spend more, which requires more taxes. And that's why they're talking about bringing the emissions trading scheme in earlier. That's why they're talking about taxes like a capital gains tax on businesses. This country cannot survive another period of a high spending, high taxing government. It is time for caution. So thank you, Nikki, very much for the opportunity to be here. Look forward to hearing some of the other speakers. And of course, I'm here at the end of the breakfast to take any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. It was good to give an overview of what's happening out there because, after all, our businesses work within that framework. We're just going to take 2 minutes for you to get another cup of coffee or to get yourself organised, and then we'll come back and carry on. Okay? Right. Getting down to business again, we're such a hard-working group. I'd like to call on Jane Huria, who is the chair of the Earthquake Appeal Trust, and she's a local, which is really good to have her here, and she's going to talk to us about this project and how she got involved. Thank you, Jane.
Kia ora koutou and good morning, and thank you, Nikki. I am from the Christchurch Earthquake Appeal Trust, and the Trust has been very pleased to fund this project that we're all here to celebrate today to the tune of $120,000 under its Economic Revitalisation category. And other projects in this category have actually included a contribution to this Westpac business and community hub, which is the first time I've been in here today, and I think it's fantastic, and I hope you're all making good use of it. I do hear it's busy. So from the Trust's perspective, where of course people from New Zealand and around the world have donated money up to the sum of around $100 million, it's very pleasing to see something actually happening. We were talking before, David and I, about there's a sense of let's get on with it, let's make a difference, let's get on with it. So pleased to see some stuff happening and the launch today. The Trust is particularly interested in projects which help communities return to a sense of normality. Trust's particularly interested in supporting some large projects with multiple and diverse stakeholders. We have a number of categories that people can apply to the Trust under, so I urge you to have a look at the website, Department of Internal Affairs, which I think is .govt.nz, so dia.govt.nz, and it's the Canterbury Earthquake Appeal Trust. So generally it's only for large grants, but we also do loans as well, and you will have read or maybe even visited the Restart the Heart project in Cashel Mall, and in that instance the Trust actually lent money because they were businesses, so they are paying the Trust back for the money, and we can then reinvest it in other projects or gift it, as is the case here. So we're looking for projects with multiple stakeholders and a broad impact. This project interested the Trust because it's about removing barriers and enabling a particular community to establish itself as vibrant and economically able, and also, very important, to provide stable and ongoing employment. The project also recognises and addresses the particular issues being addressed by ethnic communities. And we also, I know it's been done, but we also wish to recognise the hard work of Taz and his team and the Canterbury Business Association, who have worked to get this project up and running. And thank you for the invitation to the launch. We look forward to seeing the project come to fruition. Good luck, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Jane. Again, it's an example of communities helping communities. This $100 million that's come to this fund has come from all around the world and from all over New Zealand. So it is touching that people cared enough about us to put their hands in their pockets, large sums of money. So we have to make sure that we spend it wisely and well. And I'd now like to call on Winky Chen to come and talk to us a little bit about being on the Community Forum Board. Just quickly, not a big deal, but could you just perhaps come and give us and just tell us how people are being involved from the ethnic community in the rebuild of Christchurch and what you've been doing? Thank you.